Good morning, everybody. I pray that my line is open right now. I'm not sure because my screen is doing something strange, but this is Apostle Kristal. I'm excited to be here with you this morning for 111 days of kinetic prayer. We have 7 more days of this dimension, and then we're going to move into the next. The Father's going to add to us. He is going to add to us. I'm going to check myself here. Yep. Okay. Good. I left my line open. Oh, thank God for wisdom this morning. Thank God for wisdom. I didn't know what was going on with this thing, but I'm glad I left the line open this morning. I'm trying to make sure that my co-hosts have the information that they need this morning to get on the line. And my computer is stalling and doing a bunch of stuff. So excited to be here with you. We are going to do, I believe, one more installment on the manifested mind, and we're going to go to the eyes. We're going to go to the eyes next. I've been hearing some things over the last day or so. The Father wants to take us in a direction concerning the eyes. He's preparing us. He's preparing us for the thing that He's doing with us in this season, and it's absolutely amazing. He never gives us something to do without giving us the instructions to do it. And if we would just but seek the wisdom of our God, the mind of our God, we would understand how to handle the matters that are before us. So I'm just waiting on this thing to stop spinning. I know that you're trying to get in. Prophet Marlies, give me 1 minute. Good morning, Pastor Shauna. I see you. Good morning, Pastor Vicky. I see you guys this morning. Good morning to everybody that's in the room. Now, my sister, Prophet Monica, is on. Good morning, Prophet Monica. And there are 4 others of you in the background there. Good morning to you. Something waiting on this thing to do what it needs to do. But while we're waiting, would you guys go ahead and like the video this morning? Like and share it, if you will. Like and share it. We're in day 106 of the prayer and day 101 of the fast. And I'm going to read you something this morning that the Father gave me, and then we're going to jump into the conversation this morning as I am getting this thing where it needs to be. Father, we thank you for operable devices. We thank you, Father, that whatever objections are happening in the airwaves, whether it be that my computer is too full to handle what I'm doing or that I'm using too much RAM, whatever it is, Father, we overcome the challenges this morning to get to your objective, to get to the place that you're calling us to so that we can accomplish the task that is before us. And so we just thank you now for giving us that authority to bypass situations. Bypassing situations this morning. It might be the case that this might be that. But this morning, we're bypassing those situations to get to the end goal, because that's the Father's desire, and it is so. And even as I'm saying it, it is working. Hallelujah. Even as we are praying, because sometimes it just means that you have to put a word on the matter. You know, you are a son that already has what you need to do, what you have to do. Sometimes you just have to declare a thing and let it be so. You're already operating in the thing that you're declaring, but you just have to say something to see something, you know? So that's what we're doing this morning. It is working. It has worked, and we are done with that. I'm going to go to a place where I know I can get it and do it all at once, because if I try to do this separately, we might have a problem. So let's not do it separately. Let's do it all at once. Amen. How's everybody doing in the chat this morning? We're going to get going here in a minute. I want to get my co-hosts in here because I want them to hear what I'm about to read so that we can all be with one accord and with one mind. So you guys tell me what's going on with you this morning. Go on and testify in the comments section of the goodness of your King, and we can move from there. What's the tea this morning? Absolutely. I see you, Prophet. I'm getting ready to send it right now. There we go. I finally got in to send it, so you guys should get it right now. Yep, you should have it right now. Check your messenger. Check your messenger, and you should be fine. I'm gonna wait on them to get in here. Are you guys talking in the chat? Talk to me this morning. And let me make sure I refresh this so I can see the likes. There we go. All right. Yep. You guys are handling your business. I love it. We have 7 days. Can you guys believe that we were on a 111-day journey? And before this, we were on 8 weeks of kinetic prayer. So we have, I believe, almost done half the year. Man, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at what the Father has done. I'm amazed. Trying to get out of this Facebook app right now so that I can get back to my window. And I want to be able to let my co-host in the room. So I'm going to figure out what is the hold up here. What's making, oh, I can see something that could be stalling the computer just a little bit. I've got some powerful apps open down here. And that could be creating an issue because all of these things are using RAM. So that could take a bit of power. So we're going to get past this. Let's see. We do exalt him. You woke up seeing the blessings of Yah? Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. He's strong and mighty. You hear me? And I love him today. Any new testimonies since we've been in the mind of things, the mind of matters? Any new testimonies? Go ahead and share. I'm sure you are in the waiting room by now, Prophet Marlise. I'm just trying to get off of my Facebook page to get to where I need to go, which is our room. Thank you, Father. All the devices is clowning. My phone, doing something else. So my sorry YouTube quit unexpectedly. Listen, it is all well. And it sounds like my sister needs to get back in the room as well. So this might be an internet issue. This might be an internet issue. Did it knock you off too? Did it knock you off? Yeah, we might have a bit of an internet challenge. I was thinking that it might have been me, but it might be something else. All right, so prayerfully, you are in the room, Marlise. I'm going to go ahead and forge forward until I see the window again, the window of opportunity, and here it is. All right, there it is. Okay, now we're back. When I tell you, all right, the challenges are great today. Amen. That means that the Father has a great word for us this morning. Good morning, Prophet Marlise.
Good morning, good morning, good morning,
Good morning. We're going to
Grand
give a
Rising.
little bit of grace this morning because I know he's just getting back in his space and he's 2 hours behind us. But he's been hanging. He's been trying to hang. Even on the train, he was trying to hang. He tried it.
I
But
know.
yeah, we're going to give him a few minutes. He'll get in here. But I want to read what the Father gave me this morning and kind of set a direction for us this morning. Good morning, Apostle Joanne. Absolutely. Oh, that's already done. Yeah, healing is already taking place. That's a done deal. That is a done deal. And we agree. Let me see what you're saying here, Elder. You are victorious. and the challenges must end. We are overcoming the challenge. We're challenging our challengers. You hear me? All right, so let me read this to you guys. We were talking about the mind, the manifested mind, the other day before we went into Torah. So we're going to go back to that. And I wrote another poem this morning. I'm in poem mode, huh? That's what it looks like. I'm in poetry mode again. And this one is called Light and Right to Life. And it says, the truest right to life is in choosing the mind of Yah on every matter. I am reminded of the conversation of Yah to choose those he chose. A nation, fewest and weakest of all nations, yet he gave them the secret to power in just one sentence. Choose life that you may live. You see, when Yah created everything, he had a mind on the matter of its function and its future. The plan was, so the plan would be. He started from the end, at the beginning of things. Many options have presented themselves like the many choices at crossroads. However, to know is to inquire regarding the ancient path, the righteous, not according to sight, what man deems the right road. There are convincing conversations of diabolic entities at every effectual door and gate, searching for souls with itching ears, ears itching to hear another way. The agenda of darkness seeks every opportunity to challenge authenticity, every opportunity to steal your divine intellectual property. It's been given us to know, not to guess or to assume. Inquiry is an intentional act that takes us beyond the deception of the natural eyes that somehow find the paths to find many roads. There is a path, and here's the heads up. The eternal road is not always the most aesthetically pleasing at first sight, because it is an obedience activated road, cloaked in the darkness of light. Only in ordered steps is it unveiled to the natural eye. Only through faith is the substance made alive. Today we're going to talk about a couple of topics. I want to definitely deal with the mind of monarchs. We're going to bring that up because we're going to deal with some of the things that are being done with the mind hacking, and then poor unfortunate souls came up the other day. I was hearing that song and I was like, what cartoon is that? What movie is that? I had to search it out, and I sought it out and I found out it was from The Little Mermaid. It's amazing the things that are in our mind that are stored there. And this is why the word has to be in the mind of men, because when you store the word, you stored your answer, you've stored a solution, you've stored the information you need to decode whatever is being presented in life. You have what you need. Good morning, Prophet Marlise. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I am doing well. Good morning and peace and blessings to everyone.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely. Good morning, Apostle Ace. It's good to have you here this morning.
Well, shalom and grand rising to you and
Your sound is a little low. I don't know what your
to.
position is, but your sound is low. You might be on that earpiece. You might have to put it on speakerphone or change your position.
Is that better? No?
Almost.
Okay. How's that?
I can hear clearly now. The rain is gone. That's much better. Much
Well,
better.
shalom and grand rising to you and to everyone that is listening and a part of the conversation. Grand rising.
Absolutely. Oh, the poem that I read this morning. What did that trigger for you guys? What did that activate for you guys this morning? What were you hearing?
Well, I'll just let Prophetess Maurice go because I just tuned in and I didn't hear all the introduction.
Okay. Prophet Marlise.
Amen. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
the the opening of your poem, you I want to say the second line of that
Mhm.
of your poem. I would need you to repeat because there were certain words you used that I wanted to address. If you can repeat the second line of that poem for me.
Okay. Um, I'm just going to reread it. How about that? Since we
Okay.
A's was in the room, I'm going to reread it. I'm going to read it a little bit slower this time.
Hmm.
Okay. The truest right to life. This is light and right to life. The truest right to life is in choosing the mind of Yah over every matter. I am reminded of the conversation of Yah to those he chose, a nation fewest and weakest of all the nations, yet he gave them the secret to the power in just one sentence. Choose life that you may live. You see, when Yah created everything, he had a mind on the matter of its function and its future. The plan was so the plan would be. He started from the end at the beginning. Many options have presented themselves, like the many choices at crossroads. However, to know is to inquire regarding the ancient path, the righteous road, not according to the sight, what man deems right. There are convincing conversations of diabolic entities at every effectual door and gate, searching for souls with itching ears, ears itching to hear another way. The agenda of darkness seeks every opportunity to challenge authenticity, every opportunity to steal your divine intellectual property. It's been given us to know, not to guess or to assume. Inquiry is an intentional act that takes us beyond the deception of the natural eyes that somehow find the paths to many roads. There's a path, and here's the heads up. The eternal road is not always the most aesthetically pleasing at first sight because it is an obedience activated road cloaked in the darkness of light. Only in ordered steps is it unveiled to the natural eye. Only through faith is the substance made alive. Okay. Now, both of you got that message.
Amen. Choose life, communication. When choosing life, you trigger the atmosphere for open communication and for response. And when I say open communication, we can communicate, but there may not be a trigger for response. But choosing life gives off communication and it triggers a response, it's activated. And we have to live out what is communicated to us, even though we communicate and we say, I choose life, which means I choose Yah, which means I choose assignments. I choose to accept the covenant. I choose to live how you say live. Do what you say do, which means I am looking for a response and to give a response for an outcome,
Mm-hmm,
for an expected end.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes we don't necessarily think about the response, our response, especially. We communicate, but what is our response? How do we reply? How do we balance out the communication on our end to make it complete?
Mm-hmm.
Because Yah has done his part, and the response is out there. He has provided it to us, be it directly to us or through someone else or even through us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to be in the space to respond.
Mm.
Respond to the command, respond to the task, respond to his will. Because it's our response that determines what takes place in the earth. It is our response, whether we're close to him or not. It's our response, it's our responsibility. So yeah,
Yeah.
the response is what matters.
Yeah.
Our response.
Mm-hmm.
Because he will speak. He'll speak again. He will speak in multiple ways. But our response is essential. What is our response like?
Mm. My.
It's not enough to be chosen, and it's not enough to choose him. But what do we do after the choosing phase or the chosen phase?
Mm-hmm.
What is our response? And how are we responding?
Mm-hmm.
And that's with everything, not just in conversation wise, but if I give you something, how are you going to respond with what I give you? If I ask you something, how are you going to respond in the answer?
Mm.
If I tell you I'm giving you long life, how are you responding? How will you utilize the long life, the abundance? Are you going to respond in good stewardship? Are you going to hear? Are you going to move quickly? Are you going to move at your flesh leisure? How are you going to respond? Determines a lot as far as your effectiveness in the land. How are you going to respond as a, in this partnership as a co-laborer?
Hmm. My Lord. There's several things
To
that you said. You said, how are you going to respond if I give you something? Right?
mm-hmm,
What
mm-hmm,
came in my heart and my mind were several things. The conversation about the talents came up,
mm-hmm,
and then um, Second Peter came up, and
mm-hmm,
Second chapter 1, which talks about how His divine power has given us everything that we need that
mm-hmm,
pertains to living a godly life. It says life and godliness, right?
mm-hmm.
And then it says through the knowledge of Him that has called
Yeah.
us glory, meaning the doings of Yah, being that conduit of His doings and virtue. Um, then you said, what are you going to do if I tell you something? What's your response if I tell you something? I thought about Judges chapter 18, where he told the people, he said, no, no, not Judges. I'm dealing with Numbers, the book of Numbers. Caleb was quieting the people before Moshe because they were getting ready to go step over into the promised land. And the command was go up at once.
Mm-hmm.
Well able to take the land. They were not able because they did not step into the capacity that was provided for them. It wasn't that they didn't have the ability because he'd already given them the capacity. They just refused to step into that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna let Apostle Ace share, and then I'm gonna go on because you said some more things. What are you gonna do with what I say? What are you gonna do with what I give you? You said one other thing, but go ahead, Apostle Ace.
Well, can you hear me pretty good?
Oh yes,
Okay, good, good. Um, I can see clearly now.
the rain is gone. Yes,
and
Lord.
and hearing the full response, hearing the full opening and everything, and what stood out was here is something that has been given. In other words, I see here is your future. Here
Mm-hmm.
is who I see you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I want you to walk in my obedience, an act of faith. The journey to that may be difficult,
Mm-hmm.
but can you be obedient by faith to get where I want you to be?
Mm-hmm.
How will you respond? The
Yeah.
response is obedience, faith, and where I want you to be. So Yah
Yes.
gave them a prophetic word, and as you was getting ready to go to about the promised land, the
Mm.
promise. Here is the promise. Here is your future. Here's how you're going to look.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing you out of a place, but it's about an act of obedience. So now I'm taking you here, and so now I see in what they've been hearing for 400 years or more about the promised land. They've been hearing about this prophetic word about the promised land. So in other words, we see, we hear, and so we don't take an account of the journey that has to
Mm.
get there.
Count up the cost.
Absolutely. So he says, now I'm going to prepare for you a place. I'm going to prepare for you so when you get there, you'll know you'll have it all in place.
Mm.
So as what was coming up, you was getting ready to go into the promised land. And it's interesting because when they crossed the Red Sea,
Yes.
they entered into the promised land. Because the promised land is twofold.
It is.
It's twofold. There's
Mm-hmm.
one crossing to come out of a situation into a whole dimension, into
That's
an
it.
area that you're not familiar with.
That's it.
So now I got to prepare you, to humble you, to see where you're at, because I'm giving you something when you cross the second time that is going to be totally different than where you're at, where you cross it into. And
Yes.
so now the first part of the promised land is that wilderness.
It's the purging. Mm-hmm.
Let's get your mind together.
That purging. Yes.
The mind. Let's get your mind together. Because now I'm giving you something because when I take you over to the other side, you're going to
Yeah.
operate totally different and you're going to hear my voice totally different than where you're
That's
at
it.
now.
That's it. You're gonna see things totally different.
Absolutely. So now
Yeah.
the first stage is I gotta mature you. I gotta purge you from all the mess. But what happened was when they got in the wilderness, because Moshe had to go there because Moshe had to mature.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had to lead them to a place where he's going. So
Yep.
that lets us know that when he left at 40, he was not mature until he came back to lead them back where he came from.
That's right.
And so with that, they was out there, and what they did,
Mm.
what took place was Yahweh showed us how immature, how childish and a
Yeah.
toddler they were. They cried
Come
on
on now.
everything.
Come on now.
Cried. Oh, they cried, they complained. Cried. He said, but I've shown you this.
Yeah,
All
nice.
I want you to do is walk in
Yeah.
obedience, and you're going to be all right.
Just walk out with. Mm.
So here's the faith part. You
My
know,
Lord.
we out here, we're going to thirst to death. We're going to starve to death. We should have
Yeah.
gone back. And so y'all said, but wait a minute. I've shown you. Every time you cried, I showed up.
That's it. I responded.
I responded.
I'm responding.
I'm helping you to build your faith by miracles, signs, and wonders.
What's your response to his response? That's the question.
Absolutely. Because he said there's going to be a change. There's going to be a shift.
Yeah.
So because you're getting closer, it's getting closer to the time that that shift's going to take place. But if you responding in a way that says rebellion,
Uh,
complaining in this area,
come
then
on.
what's going to take place? You're not going to make it. See, this journey is a journey of faith. See, when Yah gives us a prophetic word of our future, now the journey begins with faith, obedience.
It does. It does.
And so
Yeah.
now what's taking place, Yah said, okay, now what happened is I'll give you everything that you need to where you're going.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to, my position is going to change when you
Mhm.
cross over. They didn't know this.
Yes.
They didn't understand this. But he says, well, wait a minute. So now the children that was born in the wilderness was more mature than the ones that came out, their mamas and daddies and granddaddies and grandmamas.
And they didn't know nothing.
They didn't know nothing.
They didn't
Because
even know
that's where they were
y'all.
born. They didn't have nothing to compare to. All
Yeah.
they had was what they were told and what they saw Yahweh do in the wilderness.
Yes.
So now, here, the time get ready to cross over, because Yahweh say, okay, I'm getting ready to wean you. You
Come
get
on.
ready to come off your kitty milk,
You about to
excuse
come
me.
off the titty milk. Yeah.
And so now, so as you cross over, now I've done everything for you. Now when
Yeah.
when you cross over, you ain't gonna hear my voice like you did before. You ain't
Mm-hmm.
gonna see me. You're not gonna see signs and wonders like I did before because you were babies. You was an infant. So now that you're mature,
That's it.
now what I used to do, you're gonna do.
You're gonna do it now. That's it. That's it. Yep.
And so what has happened, where we
What
at,
happened was,
we still got babies. Paul says it
oh
clearly.
my God.
Listen, you're supposed to be teaching now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
still you still acting on in the wilderness of your mind because you haven't gotten it together yet.
You trying to
You
put your
still
Mm.
hand in your mother's shirt. Cut it
come
out.
on. So we've crossed over, but we've crossed over with the part of the wilderness of our mind. We have not humbled. We don't have the faith and trust the journey. Yah has shown us over and over and over again because we always want him to do something. Yah will say, what about you? What's
Come
your
on now.
response?
Come on.
What
You
you
got
going
that.
to do? I've given you everything. I've given you a table in the presence of your enemies.
You
Now
got
what?
it. Come on now.
What
Now
you
what?
going to do? Oh, y'all gonna take care of it. No, Yeshua
No,
don't.
not.
What you gonna do? I've given you
What?
power and authority on my behalf. I don't have to show it with signs and wonders. You speak and signs and
You
wonders
do
happen.
it. You do it. Strike the rock. I mean, speak to the rock, not strike it.
That's
Because
it. That's it.
you speak to the rock now. I'm not gonna just give rivers. I want you to bring the river.
And strike the threshing floor and speak to the rock.
Wow. 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 Wow.
My Lord, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? I think it's amazing that you have brought up the way you brought it up, because it's amazing when the Father begins to show you the challenge. Because sometimes we don't see the challenge, right? Sometimes we walking through stuff and he kind of shielding us because we are, maybe a little infantile in the matter. Because that happens even with the matters of things. So because it's still yet an infant matter, it's you're seeing it from an infant through infant eyes because it's new. So he's shielding, and then boom, you cross over to another space, and you're like, whoa, yeah, I didn't know that was there. I ain't see that coming. You know what I'm saying? And so now you got to step into a space of maturity. You got to understand, okay, this is not bottle time. This is not, bassinet time. You got to literally step into the place of responsibility. And I think for me, one of the things that stood out the most, that road that is the ancient road, the right road, the righteous road, I would call it, that it is not aesthetically pleasing at first sight. If you looking at roads, you see a flowery path, you see one that's got a lot of excitement on it, you see all these different things. And then he's saying choose the eternal road, ask for the ancient path. And he points to this path and it looked like it's dark. It looked like it's, wait a minute. I thought you said this was the right road. He said it is. But I've cloaked it in the darkness of light. And a lot of people don't understand that part of Yah. You know, he says, I'm clothed in thick black darkness. That means if you're going to get to me, you're going to have to come through that to get to me. You're going to have to not be afraid of the darkness to get to me. You're going to have to not be afraid of the challenge to get to me. And I'm like, wow, this is... So there are always going to be challenges. But when you become aware of the fact that you've been made the master of your mind, then you begin to deal with the things as they're coming to you. So you're going to have these conversations. Oh, it's dark down there. So what does your mind do? It arrests the thought. Yeah, it's dark, but he's clothed in thick black darkness. And I know that if he's calling me into a space, then I got to walk through this, because even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I don't fear evil because I know he's with me.
Oh my goodness.
His rod and his staff is the comfort as I'm walking through the thick black darkness to get to him. Remember when he was on the mountain, he was telling Moshe, come up, come up. And he talked about how he was clothed in this thick black darkness. He was saying, everybody can't get to me. Everybody not going to want to get to me because they're going to be presented all of these other things that look like they could be me because they're looking for pleasantries aesthetically. But there are so many sides of me.
Come on.
That I'm protecting myself in thick black darkness so that only those that have the boldness to come through it can see me for who I really am, in order for them to become who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing that stood out to me the most. And it's an amazing thing, because as we're walking on this path, there are things that are going to come up, and if I was going to say, look at that, you're like, well, I didn't know that was there. Where'd that come from? Where'd that come from? I didn't know that was there. And he's like, no problem, but it's there now. So what are we going to do? What's your response to it? People think that when we come into this space of his grace to execute his glory, that we don't have no more challenge, no. There will always be challenges made. And there will always be that space of purification, because with each new dimension that you step into, you've got to shed the clothes of the last dimension. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday when we were talking about Joseph's way, his trek, through that process to get to that palace. Every garment that was stolen or taken, he was stepping into a new one. You know what I'm saying? And so we're worried about the garment. They stole my coat. Oh, stop crying. Identify the path. Every time they take my coat, I'm elevated. Here you go. Anybody want this coat? Y'all come get it, because I know you try to steal it anyway. Come on, get this coat. Come on, take it, because let's get this out the way. Okay? Because I'm going to the next dimension. So y'all go ahead and take this garment, because I'm getting a new one. And we looked at Yeshua, or Joshua, it is written, and he's standing before the Father, and the adversary is standing right there with him, waiting to accuse him, mad about the fact that his garments are dirty, trying to say whatever he think he gonna say about it. And the angel says, listen, get him a new garment. And the Father says, listen, if you will follow my instructions. Now, we changing your clothes. We're going to put a fair mitre on your head, We're going to crown you. We're going to make you a monarch. That's what we're doing, okay? And if you follow my instructions, as we're changing your clothes, we put the fair mitre on your head to do the thing that I'm positioning you for, then I'm going to give you a space right here in this space that you're standing by. These, you're going to have paths. Now, who are these? the angelic agencies. You're going to have a space in realms and dimensions to operate from this space, to command these. You know what I'm saying? That's it. New anointings. You're going to be able to command some things from a divine place, from the heavenly space. Okay? But I got to change your garments first. And yeah, we're not even going to pay attention to this adversary over here because I'm not even asking no questions. What do you want? I'm not talking to you. This is happening. Do you understand? He's literally changing the garments of the sons in this very hour. He's changing our garments. But the garment of the mind is of great importance to him. All of these gates that we're going to be talking about before we close in these last 7 days. Important. Why? Because you can have the position but not have the mind to keep it. You can have the authority but not have the mind to execute it. It's been given. You're just not aware of it. You haven't taken the time to know how to respond. We can cite the problem, but in citing the problem, can you cite the solution? Because the only way you're going to be able to cite the solution is if your eyes are on the solution. And many people don't have their eyes on the solution. They have their eyes on the problem. Looking unto the Mashiach, the author and the finisher of our faith. Why are we looking at him? Because he showed us how to walk it out. He showed us. He said, this is how you walk it out. Look at me. Look unto me. Look at me. And that's the same thing that Peter told the man at the gate called Beautiful. He's sitting at the gate of decision. He's sitting at the gate of judging a thing, judging a matter, coming to a final conclusion. He said, look at me. Put your eyes on me. I know you're not supposed to look up because it's the law. You ain't supposed to look at nobody you begging from. He said, but today I'm going to need you to look at me. Because today, you looking at me is what's going to change your life. You're going to follow a pattern. You see me walking, you're going to follow a pattern. Come on. You're going to follow a pattern. Prophet Marlise?
Yes. You talked about Joseph again. And what comes to mind is when the garment was taken, he was put in the pit to be raised up to a higher level. So you're saying, please take the garment. Be prepared for the pit before the elevation to the next level and the receiving of the new garment. Each time there's a pit to be raised out of, to be placed higher than you were before. The pit doesn't necessarily mean that it's a low. It is a low place, but it's a holding place. It's the waiting room to be received for the next level. The other thing is, like you said, how you respond. You have your eyes focused on the problem, but not the solution. A lot of us are conditioned to see the smaller picture, which is the problem. When the biggest picture that we should be looking at is the solution. And most of us don't even understand that we have the answer. A lot of times we don't even search out the answer. We don't search out the solution. We don't search out how to prepare for the next level, to prepare for the pit, to prepare for the elevation. We don't see that. We don't see what Yah is doing, even if we're in cycles. Because Joseph was in a cycle. But each cycle came, whether it was back to back, whether there was a space. He was in a cycle of elevation. Can we see the cycle of elevation? Can we see the cycle of becoming? And how do we respond to it? Determines whether or not we stay in that elevation, we fall down out of it, or we rise up to the next level of elevation, from the glory to glory, to grace to grace, from faith to faith.
Mhm.
And like the apostle said, the faith of it.
Mhm.
We can't lose the faith.
Well, see, here's the problem with the faith, because people think that the faith is in a thing, but they don't understand that the faith is in Yah. And so,
That's
because
it.
they don't have faith in Him, they don't have faith to walk out what He's speaking. They don't have
That's
faith
true.
to do what He's saying,
Yeah.
because they don't even have the ear for it. Because you're talking about looking at the problem. The reality is this: our sight is according to what our faith is. You
Hmm.
know? And sometimes what we're seeing in front of us, like I said about the road, all those other roads look like they're more adaptable. You know how that works, though. We saw Lot when he was given the opportunity to pick a place. He said, "Oh, that road, that area over there, Sodom and Gomorrah, that road looked right because it got a lot of grass and my cattle can graze." And he wasn't looking at it from a perspective of, well, yeah, what direction would you like for me to go? He just picked it based on what his eyes saw. You know,
Hmm.
a lot of people are focused on the problem. You said they don't have the bigger picture. It's because they don't understand, yeah, because they don't have a relationship. Because if you understand your king, he does the end from the beginning. So everything with us should be a reverse. You know what I'm saying? It's like we reverse engineer the victory. It's like when the Father taught me a long time ago, he said, I want you to have conversations with your future self. Okay, what that look like?
Hmm.
In the future, this is where you are. And you know what it brought up for me this morning? It brought up a thing that Kim Clement used to say all the time. I'm somewhere in the future and I look much better than I look right now. Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
It brought that thing up. You hear me?
Hmm.
Pastor Hayes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in the future and I look much better than I look right now.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, where I'm standing is brighter. You know what I'm saying? So it's about understanding who Yah is.
Hmm.
When we understand who He is and we understand how He operates, then we can operate as He operates, because that was the purpose of Him giving us life, for us to carry out the operations of His monarchy. Okay? That was the whole purpose. Apostle Ace?
Wow. Ooh. Wow. 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 And more wow. In connecting more dots to what you're saying, it is interesting because when you spoke about Peter at the gate of beauty, because look on us, Peter got look on us,
That's it. Yeah,
and 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 he actually did what Yeshua did with him.
that's it.
When he walked on, when Yeshua as a spirit walking on the water, and Peter said, "If it's you, bid me to come." As long as he looked at him, he was
Hmm.
walking above the situation.
That's it.
But when he took his eyes off, then he began to sink. Now, what's
Hmm.
interesting about that is that we're talking about a dark matter.
Hmm.
Where do we? So now it's interesting because we're dealing with the spirit to the truth now, because the truth gives us the tangible. The spirit gives us the faith of what that tangible is, and our
Yeah,
mind to see to bring forth out of what? A dark place.
out of the dark
Now
place.
faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. But what
That's it.
brings it, and what brings it to bring it to more light to understanding, as you even in the introduction, it says, well, I'm gonna read this, but you are a chosen generation,
Mm.
a royal priesthood, a holy nation. You are a peculiar people. And
Mm.
so even if that each dimension of each area that you go to, you have to change. There's some things that have to change when you go into another dimension. But yet you got to, because when you go in, I don't see it, but I know that I'm chosen. But what listen to that? That you should show forth the praises of him who
That's it.
called you out of darkness
Come on.
Mm-hmm.
into the shifting into the marvelous light. So therefore we are coming out of a place into. So when
Mm-hmm.
we coming out of darkness and coming into, that means that it's shifting into what we can see, the marvelous light now.
Yeah.
So there are things that he brings us out into to see who he is. So out of darkness comes faith. That's where that because we talk about the mind, the imagination, all these things. So now the enemy, what the enemy wants to do, it is to mess up our faith,
Yep.
deter our faith in
Yep.
darkness, so that you
Yep.
don't see what you see, but let's see what your eyes see of the flesh. So I want you to see tangible, because he said the just shall live by faith. We live by faith and not by sight.
Come on.
So when we begin to see by sight what we see, then it begins to, the enemy wants to say, I want to mess you up with little faith, no faith, not no faith. I want little faith, no faith. How is it that you have no faith? How is it that you have little faith?
Mm-hmm.
I'm here with you. I'm on board with you. And you don't have no faith. You don't see that I'm here, that I am in control. So now that we're here, we see the tangible. And that's good. We see it. If people are stuck on the tangible, but
Yep.
understanding that here is where faith is. Perfect
Yep.
faith comes out of light, comes from darkness. Yahweh
Mm-hmm.
revealed himself what? In darkness.
Darkness.
The glory. So it's just interesting how we transition from dimension to dimension, from faith to faith, and from glory to glory, as we say. It's
Yeah.
interesting that we always come out of darkness into, no matter what situation you are. I was blind,
That's it.
but now I see.
Now I see. That's it. I was blind,
So
but
I
now
can say, so now I can say to somebody, look on me.
that's it.
The door that he said he was and gone, I am that door. Look on me. I'm
Come
gonna
on.
feed you the bread of life.
Come on.
But I need for you to see this in me, because
Yeah.
that journey is dark. Now that's faith. I don't see it, but yet I believe it.
Come on now.
I don't see it, but yet I know it. I don't understand it, but here I am. I will trust in you. Like Abram, I want you to leave. Okay,
No problem.
I'm gone. I
I'm
don't
out.
see it, but I'm gone. But every time I moved in faith and believing, and every time I did it, I began to be wealthy. I began to expand. My borders began to expand. My wealth began to increase based upon, even though I didn't know it, I believe in what he said.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Blind, but now I see. That was, but what's on the other side? Absolutely. Because
Mm-hmm.
here's what happens with the enemy. If your faith is killed, then substance is non-existent.
Yep.
Non-existent. Because he knows that faith is what creates the substance,
Mm.
right? And faith is connected to your thoughts about things. So if your thought about things is woe is me, I don't know how to get out of this space, I don't know. The reality is we have to come to terms with whether we really know Yah or not. A lot of people still have, the image that they've created of the God that they want to serve. And they mad at that God because he won't do for them what they want done. But there's a problem because there's a duality there. And the adversary knows that if there's a duality in you, then he can't really use you to the fullest capacity. So he'll let you sit on the gate. He'll let you sit on the gate. Y'all don't want double minds, neither does the adversary. So it looked like you're just in limbo. You got to pick a side. You got to pick a side. And when you pick a side, you have the culture, the conversation, the language, all of that of that side. Now, are we still learning the lingo, becoming more advanced in the technology of language? Absolutely. Just like babies. But you can't be, well, I don't talk like, like the king yet. I'm still kind of in the goo goo gaga stage. Are you in the kingdom now? Then what you say matters still. What you
Amen.
declare is so still. Don't get fixed and focused on the fact that you can't speak that language yet, or whatever the language is that's before you. You're learning it. Speak what you can speak. Speak about it the way you speak about it. It's still going to manifest because the kingdom is voice activated. It's voice activated. Notice I
Mm.
didn't say language activated.
Apostle.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm. You just made me think about the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
All of it won't come out the exact same way, but it'll have the exact same meaning if you're if you in Yah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll
Mm-hmm.
still have the same power if you're in
Yeah.
Yah. It
Yeah.
still have the same authority if you're in Yah.
That's it.
It still have the same substance if you're in Yah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's going to create.
regardless of whether you use tomato or tomato,
Yeah.
or whether you use tomato sauce, it's still the same language if you're in Yah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the other thing is too, you were talking about the darkness, the blackness,
Mm-hmm.
and how Moshe was going up and it was surrounded by blackness, darkness. That was the door.
Mm-hmm. That was the door.
You have to be able to get to the door, go through the door to get what to the inside of what's housing what you need, or get to the other side. The same way the Red Sea was a door.
Yes, it was.
The difference is one was automatically left wide open.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, he had to push through it.
And here's the other thing. Everybody don't see it as the door.
Hmm.
It depends on your position, whether you'll see doors or not. You're going to see
Hmm.
doors or you're going to see objection.
Hmm.
If you're a son, you see a door. If you're not a son, you see the objection.
That's it.
It's beyond conversation. Apostle Ace?
It's just as I listen, it's just even going back to um, we see the problem,
Yeah.
and it's interesting. Yes, we do see the problem. We see the fruit of it. We
Yeah.
see, and many people got much language concerning the fruit.
Ooh, we.
There's much language that goes on what I see. Because they see that, oh, that's rotten. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody see, well, it's not as rotten as it is, but we see the problem. But we never, because here I'm thinking, here's my understanding. We see the fruit, but only way to deal with the problem is through the unseen, through faith. Because the
That's
root is not seen. We see the problem.
it. Come on.
Problem was, where is the problem at? The problem is unseen.
Mm-hmm.
So we
It's
have to go
invisible.
into the unseen,
That's it.
and by faith, there's the unseen with the language of speaking what Yah speaks, hear what he hears, and see what he hears, because he is in the unseen. We don't see him, but we know he is.
Right.
Here's his marvelous light.
Mm-mm.
And so, therefore, we go into the area of darkness to the root of the problem, and because our faith is what it is, it shines light on the root where it started.
That's it. To kill it or revitalize it, whichever way we got to go. Because we
You
know
got to,
with the
you
Mashiach,
can't
he
see it.
killed the fig tree. Okay. That's dead. That thing's dead. Okay.
Mm,
In another instance, somebody digging around it to make it come to life. In another instance, we see at the sin of water. So it's according to whatever it's given for you to do
mm-hmm.
in that situation.
Absolutely.
So what's your response?
There you
You
go.
know, when you talk about the problem and the complaining about the problem, uh, it brought to my mind Habakkuk. or Habakkuk. And he had an issue. He was like, I'm having, I got a whole issue here. He was in his feelings and everything. But he came to a space in verse 2 after he, did a little bit of, complaining. He said, but I will stand my watch. You know what? I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to do. Yeah, I see a problem here. I see an issue. But I know what I need to do is get in the right position. Hello? I need to get in the right position because I'm not on guard. I'm not in my space. I'm not guarding. I'm not managing what I need to be managing properly. I'm not guarding my post. I'm not manning my station. I'm so busy off over here complaining about the problem, seeing the issue, giving all this language, as the apostle said, to the issue, that I am not standing my guard or guarding my station. He said, I know what I'm going to do. Because see, before Habakkuk chapter 2, he was in the complaint mode. Look at all of this and that and the other. And okay. He said, okay, let me get my mind together. I'm going to stand my watch. I'm going back to the tower, to the high place. You understand? And when I get to the tower, when I get to the high place, which is my watch, which is what I'm supposed to be guarding, I'm talking naturally and spiritually now, I'm going to see what he's going to say to me. And I'm going to see what I shall answer after he corrects me. Because that's when I am reproved means after he get me all the way together, then I'm going to have a right response to this. After I'm corrected, then I'm going to have the right response. Now, after he did that, that's when y'all said, okay, now write the vision. This is what I need you to do. Write it down, write it clearly and concisely, inscribe it on the tables so that the herald can run with it now. Now, I need you to decree something. That's what he told him to do. I don't just need you to talk about it. Now I need you to decree it. Put it in writing. It's now a covenant. It's now sealed. It's the sign, the signet of a king. Put it in writing. And send it out. Because the herald is going to run with this. You're going to give the herald something to run with. Right now, the herald's sitting on the sideline because you haven't written anything down that he can run with. You don't have no mail to deliver because you're just talking about the issue. But the moment I reprove you, I correct you because you're standing in the right spot and you're ready to hear. Here go the problem. Again, most people want y'all to just do it. They're not ready to hear what they got to do to get to what he's saying belongs to them. Just do it. But you know what? In order for the Red Sea to open, the children of Israel had to get to the Red Sea. In order for Jericho walls to fall, they had to walk around them 6 days. And on the 7th day, 7 times. 1 time, 6 days, 7 times, 7th day. It was something that they had to do. This mindset of magic, this mindset, this bewitching of the mind, where we think, oh, it's on him. No, it's on you.
Come on.
It's not on him. He's not doing anything. He's already done everything. He said, I already gave you what you need. Now work it out. Walk it out. Now, if you're walking it out, I'm going to order your steps because it's steps that I order, not seats. Walk it out. So I want y'all to read the book of Job because I want you to see in Job how that whole conversation turned. I was going to go there the other day, how that whole conversation turned. And it's amazing how all his friends had something to say. But then the youngest of them, Elihu, I believe his name was, he said, all right, I ain't let all y'all talk. I heard that all this ignorance y'all got coming out of y'all mouth. Let me teach y'all something. No disrespect. Let me just teach you something because I know what Father is saying. And I'm not going to respond to Job like y'all responding to Job because y'all on some foolishness. Y'all got a whole bunch of conversation about the problem, but nothing about the solution. And he took Job down the road of recovery. He took him down the road. And it got to the point where he took him to that space about the dream. He said, now, you were already warned. Because you remember, Job was sacrificing for his children day and night, hoping that something stick. Just, superstitious. Like, I'm going to do this every day like it's magic, He said, you've been warned. He said, Yah speaks in a dream once, yea, twice, and man doesn't perceive it. In other words, what he told him was, you had conversations in your dream that you've been ignoring, and now you at this space because you were not hearing the voice of Yah. It's not because you were not a righteous man. It's not because you have some egregious situation going on. You wasn't starving the widows and all that. No, you have all the actions right. All those actions are right. But he needed to tweak you in this area of hearing his voice so that you don't get stuck in your way, because you got all of these things to your advantage. You're rich. You got all the things that anybody would ever want. And because of that, you're taking this advantage of your position to think that because you have all of that, then that positions you to do whatever you want to do. He said, no, and that's not how it works. That ain't how it works. You were warned. Now, you didn't heed the warning. Now we're here. He said, now you got something to do. Now, what's your response? Come on, talk to me, Job. What's your response now? And after the young man speaks, then Yah speaks right behind him. He said, now, where were you, Job? Now, do you know where the location for the snow is, for the ice? Do you know where I store the rain? Were you there when I created all the boundaries and the habitations for all of the creatures of creation? Were you there? Do you know anything about that? That's what the only way to have any clue about any of that, because we're to be masters of the elements and to have dominion over all the things that Yah was speaking to Job. He said, you have all of these other things in place, but you have not yet been introduced to the earth, and you don't understand your real position. I need you to get in position now. I'm going to restore you so you can get in the proper position, so you can walk this thing out the way that I'm declaring it to you. Listen, we got tons more, and we'll let some more of the mind stuff spill into the eyes, into the seeing tomorrow. But listen, this has been amazing. It's been amazing. I pray you guys were blessed this morning. Mysteries of the Prophet Marlise and Apostle Ace. I appreciate you guys being here with me for the impact, so that we can make the impact we need on the sons' minds in this season, so that they can walk into this space without fear, without intrepidation, with the courage that Yah has given, and the sound mind to move in force and in manifestation. I love y'all. We will see you guys tomorrow at 5 a.m. We'll be on day 6 days away from the new beginning. From the new beginning, because it's not the end. He's going to add to us. Listen, the body's not a me thing. It's a we thing. Peace to the house of the sons of Yah. Shalom, shalom, y'all.
Shalom, shalom.
Love you, Father. Shalom, shalom.
Absolutely. And wouldn't you know, my stream don't want to end this morning.
It was being blessed.
That's all right. I'm going to figure out another way. Absolutely. It don't want to end. It's stuck, so it won't end. But we're going to end it. Yeah. We are going to end it. The temptation to keep talking is there, but I ain't doing it. I'm still pressing the button. My Lord. I wish I had turned the music on at least. We just... I guess this is our Selah, so we'll just be quiet. I'm just going to be quiet and let it do what it got to do.